Well, hiya, silly gooses, and welcome back to another Reverend Reviews. Today, we are taking the fight to Old Scratch himself. Being that I'm a Reverend, I cannot pretend to hide my excitement to remote hole punch the Prince of Darkness with a sweet-looking pair of akimbo pistols. What do you think I was going to say, heathens? Satan is a first-person shooter that follows our fearless heroine as she descends into the depths of hell itself on a mission to avenge her fallen loved ones, who were sent to an early grave by Satan and his horde of worshippers and demons. Speaking of the demonic hordes and worshippers, I have to commend Gamefruit, the developer of Satan, on the care and detail that he put into the enemy NPCs. They are grotesque in a good way. From eyeball bats to very plump demon boys, every enemy has its own personality. I had the opportunity to speak with Gamefruit prior to this video's release, and to say that I was blown away by the passion and hard work that he put in as a solo developer is an understatement. However, as awesome as the enemy designs are, they are still nasty, nasty demons. And in Gamefruit's own words, a dead demon is a good demon. So they gotta go. I also want to say a big thanks to Dosman Games for gifting me a review key so that I could experience all that Gamefruit has cooked up. As my journey through the game began, I was immediately drawn in by how immersive it was for me. As a Reverend, I too was trained to shiv everyone that doesn't agree with me with a sharpened crucifix, which I immediately put into practice when Satan's followers accosted me, which of course I didn't agree with, so I poked them. My holy shiv and I would continue through the level, compelling Satanists to get out of my way and giving them involuntary piercing should they not heed my commands. I also took the time to give my thoughts on the artwork. That's rude. Who'd do that to white Jesus? And admired how strong the stained glass seemed to be. Never in a million years would you find me hitting a stained glass window like this. Those things cost way too much. Honestly, I had way too much fun poking people with the holy shiv, and I made sure that this guy knew it. Get God. You're not gonna get me. I'm trained in the art of crucifix warfare. However, I soon began to realize that it was starting to feel a little unfair. Oh, there's two gunmen. Hang on. I feel like this ain't fair. But as luck would have it, I soon found something that would equalize the playing field. Ooh. Ooh! Akimbo pistols. Let me tell you, these bad boys made me feel like some sort of reverendly John Wick, popping Satanists and demons like the priestly Baba Yaga I was born to be. In all seriousness though, the pistols felt quite balanced. Sure, they were outshined by a few of the other weapons, which I will talk about later on, but to me they never really felt weak. Quite frankly, I used the pistols a lot more than I expected, because I like the feel of them. That, and who doesn't want to run around with akimbo pistols? To that I will say that the weapons in Satan are great. They look really good, and I really did feel powerful running around with all manner of high-velocity exorcism machines. As my journey continued, I would soon try out my new pistols on an enemy that kind of reminded me of an enemy from another horror movie. Editor Rev, yeah? Show them what I'm talking about. You got it, boss. If you too find yourself playing Satan, be on the lookout, because there are quite a few secrets that you can find, secret doors included. I need one of these for my office. The wall, not the shiv cross. And a secret Dosman, though I'm not going to tell you where that little fella is. Guess you'll just have to explore for yourself. Speaking of exploration, I really enjoyed the level design in Satan. It was quite a journey, going from ransacked and ruined cathedrals to hopping along the sides of buildings in the city map. I will say, however, I would have liked to have seen a level select. One, because it helps my scripts, instead of them devolving into ADHD-fueled chaos. And the second reason I would have appreciated a level select is because, as seen in my Reverend review, I am notorious for missing weapons in games, and I can neither confirm nor deny that it happened again. I'll be the first to admit that I don't know what it takes to add a level select, but at this point I'm trying very hard to find something to critique because it's a great game. One of the things that makes this game great is the plentiful boss fights that I was able to experience. Like, the first boss fight in the game is a scuffle in the sanctuary, complete with a raucous electric guitar concert that would have made any old church lady clutch their pearls. Also, this guitarist was surprisingly tough and had an ample amount of companions willing to turn me into a Swiss cheese preacher. In other words, I restarted a lot. Ow. You know what though? I still thoroughly enjoyed this boss fight, I promise. This would make church service suck. I don't know how I'd preach over this. Honestly, this is an accurate representation of when you tell people that they're supposed to love the people they want to hate. My eventual victory would reward me with a path forward, where I would immediately fall into what I assume is the grimy catacombs beneath the cathedral. Conveniently, I would land in front of a priestly pal of mine, who swiftly granted me his standard issue pastoral Kevlar, and this made me effectively bulletproof, unlike the many outrageous claims that Kenneth Copeland makes. Look, by now, you might as well expect that Kenneth Copeland is getting roasted at some point in a Rev Plays Games review. He makes my life incredibly difficult. Back to the other demons in this video, the Catacombs section introduced multiple interesting demon NPCs into the mix. There were some creepy crawly spider skulls that shivered my Reverend timbers. A+ for freaking creativity. Those things are horrifying! It's straight on my nightmares. And some stomach-churning hefty boys. Excuse me. But there were two enemies in particular that terrified me the most. The NPC that when created Gamefruit said, let's take the most horrible looking spider known to man and double it in size. Oh, Big Daddy! And even more terrifying, my greatest enemy throughout the entire playthrough, my aim.
Harry! You're alive! And you're a horrible shot.
It's quite sad, really. As I littered the walls with bullet holes, and occasionally even the enemies, my journey through the dark underbelly of the cathedral would lead me to a really interesting looking fortress section, almost like a secret Satanist stronghold, with an interesting enemy that shot a mysterious white liquid out of a suspicious part of its body. Anyway, I gave it a name. No, it's the Jizz Reaper. Narrowly escaping a sticky situation, my journey continued on toward the next big boss. Along the way, I got harassed by demonic mouseketeers. Ah! Oh, no, Mickey, no! Got munched on by some Wallussies, and did a puzzle. Finally, I would confront the next big boss, and boy, was he an ugly son of a gun. He had a big old mouth where his stomach should be, which to be fair is a really cool design by Gamefruit. The boss fight was a lot of fun, and it required me to run from Mr. Mouth McGee there and dodge his plump posse of minions in the process. It actually started to feel really familiar. I have found myself in Orion's buffet. Once I had sent the big fella to his eternal nap time, I took off toward the next part of the journey, which we will get to after this brief message. Are you having trouble with the hellish hordes of the underworld? Are you finding those pesky demons in every nook and cranny of your house? Would you like to send these devilish boogers back to where they came from? Then call the Akimbo Preacher. This pistol-packing holy man is rated #1 in supernatural pest control, and you best believe that when the demons see him coming, they're gonna tuck their funny-looking tails between their legs and run screaming back to the pits of hell itself. And if they don't, well, the Akimbo Preacher will remove them with .45 calibers of pure exorcism power. Don't wait until the hordes are flooding out the doors to do something about it. Call 1-800-BYE-BYE-SATAN and take back your home today. Note, the Akimbo Preacher does not cover any damages to property or pets that is caused by his awesome demon fighting skills. Call now for a steep discount to a price of 1 like and 1 subscribe to Rev Plays Games. Really, go ahead and subscribe. I'm almost to 50. If I had to choose my favorite map, it probably would have been the City Streets level. I really enjoyed hopping along the edges of the buildings, getting jump scared by the motorcycle Satanist. Whoa! I'm a pedestrian. Oh, and by the time I had gotten to this level, I had acquired a Tommy gun and would get my hands on the shotgun as well. The Tommy gun was a mainstay for me, as the magazine capacity made it easier for me to mow down the big enemies, and the shotgun was decently powerful, although I probably would have preferred that both barrels fire at the same time for double damage. However, after saving a helpless feline, I would soon receive the coolest looking minigun I have ever seen. This thing rocked. Luckily for me, I got to try it out soon after on an unfortunate mini-boss. It's a lot easier when you have a frickin' minigun. I would eventually get my hands on a few other weapons, my favorite being the cross that shot magical cross projectiles at the demons that nearly one-shot most of them, as it should. My journey would take me through a few other boss fights as well, which were all interesting in their own way. The boss fight against Upside Down Jesus was a little weird for me for obvious reasons, and the boss fight against this big guy took a while, but it was quite fun. Eventually, I would take on the big boss, the grand poobah of the hellish hordes, Satan. And if I could be candid, this boss fight was cool, but it made me want to swan dive into a pool full of cinder blocks, mainly because my uncoordinated self couldn't stay on top of any of the platforms. My only consolation was that I got to mow down the king of hell with a freaking minigun. Admittedly, I could talk for hours on end about the game, but I also don't want to spoil everything for you. Talking with Gamefruit, he told me about the many hours that it took to animate the NPCs and the weapons, and how much effort it took to get this game to the point where it is now. If a Satan-slaying boomer shooter is right up your alley, then I would definitely recommend that you play Satan. You can purchase it right now on Steam for $2.99 USD, or you could purchase the entire Dosman collection bundle for $13.45 USD, which includes Satan as well as Reverend. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed my time playing Satan, and I would like to commend Gamefruit for his hard work and dedication to creating such an enjoyable gaming experience. And I would also like to share, straight from Dosman himself, that if you would like to see a Satan sequel, say that 3 times fast, be sure to shout at Gamefruit, and Dosman will force him to make it. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking and subscribing, and if you didn't, hit that dislike button, and then create a We Don't Like Rev Club, and schedule a weekly get-together to watch my videos in their entirety and make fun of them. Anyway, remember that you are loved, and until next time, see ya, silly gooses.